Good evening, everyone, and welcome. We at the Evesham SDA Church are excited to have you here for the 1-week Health Reset webinar series. Over the next week, we'll be sharing simple, powerful steps you can take to transform your health, and it all starts right now. Throughout this series, you'll learn topics like unlocking the 8 pillars of health, exposing the #1 killer, and even practical demonstrations in water treatments. Each night, we'll focus on small, easy-to-follow actions that will help reset your body and mind. Plus, there is a downloadable handout of the key points covered each night. You can download it in the comments section below. By the end of the week, you'll be on your way to feeling your best, inside and out. Whether you're just getting started on your health journey or looking to take your wellness to the next level, this is your chance to reclaim your health in just 1 week. Join us now for this segment of the 1-week Health Reset series, and get ready to take the first step toward a healthier, happier you.
Alright, good night everyone, and welcome back to another of our, the final day of our health week, or the final night of our health week. And we have been learning quite a lot out here tonight. We have been learning about the laws of health, the reason behind sickness, and we have been looking at disease #1 killer, Herbs 101, and tonight is our final night, which is going to be the wonders of water. Tonight is the wonders of water, and we'll be looking at that. That is going to be our final topic. Now, tonight is going to be a little bit more practical, right, than all of the other nights that we have looked at before. In the other nights, we have been doing more of theory, more teaching. Tonight, we'll be doing a lot more demonstration and showing you guys exactly how to apply the hydrotherapy in your everyday life. Now, before we do that, let us, of course, start with our memory text. And we have some power texts that we have learned throughout the entire period. And the first one is Exodus 15, verse 26. Exodus 15 and verse 26. Now, I'll give you a minute to find that. We'll also bring it up on the screen here so that you can see it. After the count of 3, 2, 3.
And said, if thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, and will do that which is right in his sight, and will give ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes, I will put none of these diseases upon thee, which I have brought upon the Egyptians, for I am the Lord that healeth thee.
Right, for I am the Lord that healeth thee. So we are seeing here that if we do our part, the Lord will do his part, right? And as it goes on to say in Proverbs 26:2, part B, that the causeless shall not come. The causeless shall not come. Now, Ministry of Healing, page 127 says, disease never comes without a cause. Disease never comes without a cause. And what we've been doing for the entire week is that we've been working from the foundation, working from the cause. Now that we have gotten to the solution, or we see how disease come about, we are now going to add certain therapies and methods of treatment to help reverse this disease. But it is very important to realize that if we do not address the root cause, then whether it is hydrotherapy, Herbs 101, or whatever it is, these methods will not work permanently. They will only mask the symptoms. They may only help to alleviate some of the pain or discomfort you will be having, but as long as the cause is there, it will come right back. So always remember that lesson that we did on Monday night while we get sick. That will be one of the most important lectures that you will ever watch. And of course, it will be up on the YouTube channel so that you guys can always go back and rewatch it and memorize that. Once you have that sequence done, then it becomes easier for you now to understand whenever you are faced with a disease, whether from your loved one, yourself, or someone else, to trace back, see where that disease came from, and then you work your way in. So, as we mentioned, last night we looked at Herbs 101, and tonight we are going to be looking at the healing wonders of water. Now, just a quick recap. Once we have this thing set up, we are going to use the 3-step sequence that we learned about in night number 3, right, where we talked about the #1 killer. And remember, the 3-step sequence is to first turn off the tap, then unplug the sink, and then mop it up. So we are mopping it up with herbal treatments, and in this case we are mopping it up with water treatments as well. Alright? So that being said, let us get some working definitions here, and this is going to help us as we progress through tonight. Now, the use of water for therapy is called hydrotherapy. What is it called? Hydrotherapy. And hydrotherapy is simply the use of water as a therapy, either internally or externally, in one of its forms. So, when we're looking at the forms, we have to understand that water has three primary forms. It's a solid, it could be a liquid, or it could be a gas. And all three forms are useful when we are doing hydrotherapy. Now, you have to remember that hydrotherapy is not something new. Hydrotherapy has its dates all the way back to 450 BC, right? And the Romans was one of those persons who have used hydrotherapy, right? So now we have the backstory set. We are now going to look at two words. Let's just use these two words. We're going to keep this thing simple tonight. And let us look at two words. The first one is derivative. So this is some of the words that you will hear in hydrotherapy. Derivative, and that means draw blood or lymph from one part by increasing them in another part. Right? So we are kind of creating a balance. So we are pulling from one area and putting it into another area. That is what when we talk about derivative. Now, revulsive is the application of heat followed by a brief application of cold. So, those are two of the methods that we'll be using here tonight. So, remember, the derivative is we are taking blood or lymph from one area and bringing it to the next area. And the revulsive is the application, as we said here, of heat followed by a brief period of cold. Now you're going to see why this is important, and you're going to see exactly how we'll apply this. Now, one thing I want you to keep in mind, when you are doing hydrotherapy, the body has, as we mentioned, different parts of the body have different amounts of water. But the fluid on a general basis in the body is pretty much consistent in terms of volume. Of course, it will change with sweating, excretion, etc. But generally speaking, it will be pretty much consistent in terms of the total volume. So, what hydrotherapy does? Hydrotherapy uses either the derivative or revulsive method, and all you are doing is moving around the blood and lymph based on the condition that exists. So, let us take, for example, a headache, right? Now, in the cases of a headache, what you would find is that a lot of blood is in the head, this area here, which is causing the pain, right? So, if blood is in the head, what do we want to do? We want to remove or reduce the volume of blood in the head. Now, your body or the blood would always flow to an area that is warmer. Make sense? So your body will always go to a warmer area. So if that is the principle, there is blood in the head, you want it to go to a warmer area, you will take a warm foot bath, which will warm this area here, your feet, which will draw the blood from this side down to that side. Make sense? So wherever you want the blood to flow to, you will warm the area. Or flow away from, you will warm the area. So if you want more blood in the area, then you'll warm that area. If you want the blood to be drawn away from this area, then you warm the area that is opposite to it. Make sense? Make sense? Alright, so we're going to do some demonstrations. I know it's a little bit to take it, but we're going to do some demonstrations. Now, before we get to the demonstrations, let's look at some of the advantages of hydrotherapy. For number one, it's easy to apply. Every house in Siminsu and the Grenadines and the rest of the Eastern Caribbean has water or access to water, right? There is generally no negative side effect as long as you take precautions, right? So I'll mention some of the precautions as we get here. Now, it also helps to remove toxins. Again, it's causing the flow of lymphatic fluids and also blood. It can be locally applied. So what does that mean? Sometimes with traditional medicine, or pharmaceuticals, if you have a pain in your stomach, you have to take a medication in your mouth. You have to go through your whole digestive system before you address this pain. With hydrotherapy, if you have a knee injury, for example, or ankle injury or something like that, you can go straight to the source and apply the relevant method for that situation. Make sense? Right. And then, it is most important in this economy, inexpensive and readily available. Right? That is one of the best things about hydrotherapy. So, the effects on the body now, once you use hydrotherapy, we use hydrotherapy, as I mentioned in the headache case, to remove congestion. It also helps to improve circulation. It helps to stimulate the immune system. Very important, it also increases white blood cells count. It opens airways and it promotes rapid healing. Now, some points to note is when you're doing hydrotherapy or you're about to apply hydrotherapy, ensure the person is in a nice warm room. So you don't want to apply hydrotherapy and the window is open and draft is coming in, right? Because we're having some massive temperature fluctuations with the body if we do that, okay? Try and keep the room quiet and dimly lit. So you don't want too much light and you want the room to be quiet. Of course, make sure that you sanitize your hands and the equipment, utensils that you'll be using during the hydrotherapy. And to make it easier, have everything readily available. If you're dealing with an older patient or older client, you don't want to be doing hydrotherapy and leaving the client unattended, running off to go in for equipment, right? Because you know what will happen. Okay? And then some persons, you have to be very careful with hydrotherapy, especially, for example, a warm foot bath. You will not give that to somebody who is a diabetic. Because remember, with diabetes, the extremities are normally numb, or the feeling in the extremities can be gone, or is reduced, right? So if you put the water in, the water is too hot, because that person is not feeling, it could be damaging their feet, burning their feet, and you'll not be able to give you feedback. So diabetics are one you want to be extremely careful for, people who have really poor circulation and persons who have nerve damage, right? So these are some precautions. So tonight, I'm going to do some demonstrations. That is the important part right here. Right, let's get into the demonstrations. And I have some of the things on hand that we'll be using. Right? And I'll show you guys exactly how you can utilize them during your hydrotherapy. I'm going to move from some of the easier ones to some more difficult ones. Right? Let me just get my assistant guy here, Jack Neal. That's you right there. Right, he has it under control. That's my cameraman there. That's Jack Neal. Been doing a great job with the camera for the entire week. Alright, so let us start with the easiest one. Mommy, you can do demonstrations for me? So I'm going to give you the easiest one for us. And we're going to work from there. Sister Williams, you want a demo? No? Nobody wants a demo for me? Okay. Alright. So let me start here. I'm going to do this one now. Now this one, go here. Sit right there. Right. So this one, and a lot of you have been familiar with this during the COVID period. Right? This one is we're going to use to clear your passageway. Also if you have congestion. Right? Now we're going to use here some warm water. Again, we have everything on hand. We're going to use some warm water. We're going to place it in the bowl. Now what we normally recommend you do is take a plastic or some waterproof material and of course you'll spread it the whole table so that you don't have spillage. Have your kettle and everything on hand. Now for the patient, you're going to have them cover their head with a towel, so lean over for me. We're going to cover here with a towel and we're going to cover the entire area when we are doing it. Now before we do that, couple things. We're going to use, what form of water are we using? Solid, liquid or gas? You sure? What are we inhaling? Gas. So you're actually using the gaseous format of water. So the steam is what we're inhaling. It's called a steam inhalation. Right? Now a key point to put in, if you guys have things like, for example, that you could add, so like eucalyptus oil, right? That will also help to clear the passageway. Peppermint, also has an effect. What's that? Mentholated crystals, very good. We use that a lot during COVID. So these are things that you could train to further enhance, right? So we're gonna add the warm water first, demonstrate them adding the warm water. Of course, you check to make sure the steam is good. You add the mentholated crystals, and now you're gonna get the vapor. So then the client is going to lean forward. You're gonna cover the client's head, and if you use a bigger towel, you ensure the entire area is covered. And what the client is going to do, you're just going to ask them to inhale and exhale through your nose, right? You always want to check in with the person to ensure that the water is not too hot or there's no discomfort, right? Every now and then you may need to give them a breather, right? And then back at it again. Now, what about the situation where somebody is immobile or unable to come off a bed? So in a case like that, what you would do, you would use a kettle, right? The kettle has a small hole, and then you're going to take like a Bristol board, and you make like a funnel. So they're going to lie in the bed like this, the kettle is here, and you just allow the steam from the kettle or Bristol board to come in the air. Make sense? It's going to be like a funnel, right? And the same principle applies where you'll spray mentholated crystals. Now this water will cool off, so every now and then you will need to apply it. This is something you can run for about 5 to 10 minutes, and it will help to clear the passageway, right? So what we are doing here, we are applying heat, and we're using the water vapor to break up the mucus and clear the passageway. By adding the mentholated crystals, by adding eucalyptus oil, that further amplifies the effect of the hydrotherapy. Make sense? Lovely. So that one is the steam inhalation. Now, this is the next one. And this is for clients who have high blood pressure, right? Clients who have high blood pressure. If somebody has high blood pressure, and I hope my bucket is big enough for this demonstration. If somebody has high blood pressure, you're trying to encourage circulation, right? You're trying to encourage circulation, encourage better circulation. So what you're going to do, you're going to take a bucket. I really hope this is big enough for demonstration. I feel it'll be something a little bit more big than this, and bigger than this. Again, you have your plastic there, right? And what you're going to do, you're going to need a couple of things. Hot water is one, cold water is the next one. Now, remember we said, when we do hydrotherapy, and let's just recap our terms, the derivative method, we are pulling from one area to the other. The area that we want the blood or lymph to pull away from, that area must be cool. The area we want to pull to must be warm. Right? So what we're going to do, we're going to pour warm water in here. And we're going to check it. Elbows normally is a good indicator to check with. So you check with it, make sure it's not too hot for the person. The person that's going to place their hands, you may have to stop with this one, but let's see if you can do it without putting your hands. You're going to place your hands, right, deep in the bucket, right? Place your hands in the bucket, and then you're going to take the cold rag, and you're going to put it around the neck, and if you have a next one, on the forehead. Why? Because we want to make the blood flow from this cool area into this area, right? So wherever the heat is, the blood will flow there. Now this works really good for clients with high blood pressure. Make sense? So, what was that? For the breathing? So the breathing one is for more nasal issues, respiratory issues. Right, that's to clean your lungs. So that one, that would not be for high blood pressure. Right? You want to encourage circulation. This is one that we use for high blood pressure. And the next one we use for high blood pressure is similar to this, and it's called the hot foot bath. Let me demonstrate it to you. Right?
This is warm water, right?
Right, this is warm water. Right? So what you are doing, you're trying to get the blood to flow. Because when you have high blood pressure, your vessels tend to be constricted. When you heat it up, your vessels will dilate. Right? And when the vessels dilate, remember, if you have a hose, you squeeze the nozzle, it comes out the pressure. When you release the nozzle, the pressure drops. So what you are doing in this method is opening the nozzle so that the pressure will drop. Right? This one you rapid and the fast ones. Now our next one, I'm going to turn the chair, right? A similar method, sit down for me. So you could also, if you have a little bit more time, again, always remember to keep the area that you're working with, keep plastic there, right? You're going to get the same warm water. Place it. You might need to take off the slippers. You're going to place warm water in here. Check with your elbows. You're going to have your rag here with cold water. So when we say cold water, we throw water and then put ice cubes inside. Right? And then we have our towel. Let's just wrap our towel here. And we have our towel soaking in the ice water. Now, in blood pressure, just like we did for the arms, we want to get the blood flowing to the extremities. So for the full length of the body. The extremities, now we talk about the limbs and the feet. Right? So we're going to do the same thing. Where do we apply the heat? Right. So we're going to put hot water here. And you're going to put both feet inside. I hope both feet will hold inside there. Now make sure I don't have a small midget bucket like mine, okay? Alright, let's pull that back there. Keep it on the warm area. Now, keep this in mind. You will have your kettle with you at all times. You could always keep this, always has to keep as warm as the client could tolerate. Right. So the blood is going to flow there. Now we're going to take the cold rag again, if you head up, and place it, look down, and place it around the neck. So you're going to keep this area cool. Right? What that is going to do, the blood will flow from the cool area to the warm area. So we encourage circulation. Make sense? And that will help to lower the blood pressure. Now, everything makes sense so far? You guys want me to pause, take any questions? If you have any questions, let me know. And we keep it going.
Instead of putting that on your neck, can you put it on your forehead?
You could put it on your neck or you could put it on your forehead, yes. Or if you have two of them, you could put one on your neck and one on your forehead. Alright? Right. Perfect. So, we cook it with gas. Now, let's keep it moving. Now, this one, right? And we don't have a bed here, but this one is called, this is called a hot foot bath, by the way. This one is called a hot foot bath. Okay? Let me come down. Okay, this one is called a hot foot bath. Right, this one is called a hot foot bath. Just making sure my camera guy. Everything okay with you? Right. This one is called a hot foot bath. The next one is what's called a steam inhalation. Right? Now, if you have a person, child, has asthma, you're going to do something called a fermentation. So fermentation simply means a hot rag placed on the area. Right? That's called a fermentation. So for this case, we're going to assume that the client is lying down. Right? We don't have a bed here. So let me do it with the best we have. So where, just a little back for me. Where is the lungs in this client's body? Point to the lungs. This is the lung area. This is the area that is congested. Right? This is the area that is congested. You want this mucus to be broken up. Right? So, and next thing you can note, the area that you want healing, so you want to make sure the blood is flowing there. So if this is the area of target, we're going to ensure that this area now is warm. Now, we're going to take this same rag, and in fact, let me use this rag, because I'll need that rag for something else. So, you'll probably not, yes, this is actually a good size. Alright? Right. So this rag, you're going to take it, and you're going to place it in warm water. A warm blanket, warm water. You're going to keep this warm. Make sense? As warm as the client could tolerate. Right? And something to note, because this treatment would take 5 to 10 minutes, depending on the person, you would always have to take it off and warm it back and then put it back. Right? So we have our warm blanket here. Boom. We're going to take this warm blanket and we're going to place it, the client is lying down, we're going to place it on the lung area. Right? Just like we did the first time, we now have to take our, what is this, cold or hot? Cold, right? Correct, Sister Williams. And we're going to place it either by the neck or on the forehead. We are encouraging the blood flow in this area to help to deal with the congestion. This is really good for somebody who is wheezing, they have asthma, those sort of stuff. It's going to have to break up the congestion. Right? This is called a fermentation. Make sense? Excellent. So that is that one. And let us look at, so it relieves congestion in colds, helps with pneumonia, that's the same one, and bronchitis and asthma. That is what you would use this for. The last one that we'll be looking at is going to be a fever bath. Now, this is one that you'll probably see a lot if you've ever taken anybody to the hospital with a fever, especially children. Right? So we don't have a bath here, but what you're going to do, in essence, is going to be a cold bath, right? This is somebody coming in with a very high temperature. You're going to have a cold bath, and you're going to place them inside that cold bath. Now for children, what they normally do at the hospital, they will place them there in the bed, and they will use a cold rag or a cold towel and place it over them in an effort to bring down the temperature. Make sense? Right? So these are some of the demonstrations here for hydrotherapy, and these are some of the ways in which you can use water to alleviate different conditions that you have. The key thing to remember is when you are trying to encourage circulation, so if there is too much, like for example in certain headaches, there's too much blood here, you want to remove the blood, you heat the opposite area and bring it down there. And just keep this area nice and cool. Right? In the case of the congestion or the blocked nose, you want to break up the mucus, you're going to use hot steam to do that one. Right? When you have food and healing, you place the heat locally, so in case of asthma, you place it right here to break up the chest cold, and then you go from there. And then once you place heat, you also want to make sure the other areas kept cool. Right? Now there's a lot more different therapies or different methods of application. For example, if you have like sprayings and so forth, but we don't have the time to go into all of them tonight, but it's a pretty much a similar pattern, right? Where you use application of hot and cold. Oh, one more thing I'll do, one more thing I'll show you guys, is in the case where you want to increase circulation, remember we talked about, and I also have to keep my paper close by, remember we talked about derivative. Derivative means drawing blood from one area to the other, like we did in these two methods. Let me show you guys the revulsive method. So revulsive means the application of hot and cold. Now this one actually stimulates white blood cells, and this is also one that you'll use to help with circulation as well. Right? So how you will do this one, you're going to get a bowl, again, warm hot water, as hot as the client can tolerate, and something I forgot to mention. Always keep a thermometer close by so you could know the temperature of the water. Right? So you're going to have your hot water and you have an ice cold water. Right? Actually, I could do the next one. So I'm going to give you guys two more. So I'll do this one first. So if somebody has poor circulation and you want to improve the circulation, what you're going to do, you are going to use the revulsive, right? The revulsive method. So what we're going to do, take off your shoes again. Always keep, and of course, don't get a cheap, plastic like mine. Make sure you get a proper plastic, right? So you're gonna have your hot water here. The client is going to place their foot here. Right? Yeah, sit down. Sit down. So you're gonna place your foot here, right, in the hot water. Again, these basins have to be a lot bigger so you have more space to work with, right? So you place it in the hot water about 3 minutes, right? And then you go straight over into the cold water. Yeah. Take it out for about 30 seconds and then you repeat that. Right? Right. That would help with the circulation. Now, our next one that we'll do. So, we normally recommend you do it for about 5 times. So, you go back and forth 3 minutes, 30 seconds, 3 minutes, 30 seconds. Right? And then you come back and forth. And remember, as the person who is doing the hydrotherapy, you have to always make sure the water is hot enough and the water is cold enough. So you always have to be servicing the waters, right, back and forth. Roughly. Yeah? And then the last one I'll show you guys is one that we use when you want to induce sweat. Right? So if you want to induce sweat, somebody has like a serious, again, it could work for certain fevers, but if you want to induce sweat, we'll use a hot foot steam. So this one now, again, you're gonna, now for this one, just to make it like easy, right? I'll use this small bucket. But of course, try to use a bigger one, alright? So you're gonna place a hot water in here. You're gonna take a blanket. And this one, you're gonna cover the patient from head to toe. So what you will also do, you will cover the chair with some sort of a waterproof or plastic because the person is about to sweat. And then you will place the blanket on. So let me show you guys this one. And we are always going to be doing these hydrotherapies, so as I learn this, I'll come and show you guys it. So next time, Sister Williams will be my demonstrator, and I'm going to show you guys how to do this. Right? As we learn more information, we're gonna bring them to you. So you're gonna cover the person, right? You're gonna cover the person. Right. So you're gonna cover here. Right. So you're covering here, and what is going to happen, the steam from here is going to come up and induce sweat in the person. Now, just like we did with the coal, we don't want the extremities again to be affected, so we'll use a coal rag on the head while this is going on. Now, what this will do, this hot steam, and this really works if somebody has like a cold or flu, this works. I tried this one on my son already. And the steam from in here will come in the entire body, and it will induce rapid sweating. And it will sweat, sweat, sweat. It also works for some fevers. So it will sweat, 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 sweat. It drains the lymphatic system, and this will also help with sweating conditions. Right? Always remember that once you're applying heat, you always got to keep the head nice and cool. Okay? And of course, from time to time, because of the water cooling off, you'll have to come and service, make sure that the water is kept warm, and then put them back on the towel, and this one will work for that.
So you only go to your neck with this one, right?
Right. You only go to your neck with this one, so you can leave some area to place the cool rag. Right? Make sense? So the next time we do this, we could probably look at things like spraying and more advanced hydrotherapy methods that could be used. Now, a nice book that you could use is The Amazing Wonders of Water. That book has like all of the hydrotherapies, plus more than we talked about tonight, and actually shows you how to do them. Right? So, that being said, thank you very much for being my prop tonight. Alright, so let's just clear the area here. So now you see how we can use all. Let's just place these here. Right, so now you guys see how we can use all of the 8 laws to affect healing. And remember, this is part of the end process. This is going to be the mopping up process. After we have turned off the top, after we have unplugged the sink, then we'll apply the hydrotherapy. So, you guys learned something about hydrotherapy tonight? How much of you are going to try it?
I tried the inhalation already.
Try the inhalation? You guys have tried the inhalation already?
Yeah.
Right, so that was a form of hydrotherapy as well.
During COVID.
Right. The crystals, as Jack mentioned, you have to make sure it's strong. Ice cold water. So water with ice cubes inside? Yes, so you have the contrast. Right? So, doesn't look like we have any more questions. Looks like everything was clear, which is great. And this now brings us to the end of our health week. And this was the last topic, which would have been the healing wonders of water. So I hope by the end of this seminar or webinar, watch it online, that you guys would have learned some stuff. And remember your handouts. You still have to get the physical handouts, but remember your handouts will be available online by the time this is ready. Remember your handouts, to use your handouts as a recap. Right? You don't have to come and watch the whole video, but the handouts will kind of guide you as to where you should go. Right? So, if there's no questions, we will just go ahead and wrap up tonight with a word of prayer. And for those of you who want more information in terms of the remedies, you can reach out to us on the Evesham SDA Facebook page if you're watching us on Facebook or on YouTube. And we also have medical missionaries on hand that will be able to help you as you guys go through your daily life. You need different remedies. We have medical missionaries. Also, a plug here is the IADPA bookstore, which is available in all of the islands that you're probably watching this. The Inter-American Association Division, Publishing Association, Inter-American Division Publishing Association. Those bookstores are available throughout all the Caribbean islands. So these also have a lot of these remedies in their books. So you can pop by there and just ask one of the attendants to help you and direct you to the books that will have some of these remedies in there. So I hope you guys were blessed by this week by this health week and this health seminar, health webinar, keep saying seminar, health webinar. And main thing I want you guys to take away is to use the principles of health. They were there for us to enjoy good health, and the Lord promised us as long as we follow them, we will reap the benefits, which is good health. So have yourselves a great night. Again, thank you so much for joining us on behalf of the Evesham Health Ministries Department and also the SVG Mission Health Ministries Department headed by Pastor Brenson John. We just want to thank you all for joining us for this Health Week. Have yourselves a blessed night. Until our next seminar, God bless.
Thank you for joining us in this segment of the 1 week seminar. We trust that you have been blessed. Remember to download your handout and most importantly, take one action step and apply it into your life. Join us again tomorrow for the next segment of the 1 week health reset webinar.